Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Let me just extend that over. So excellent. Okay, so quite a lesson for me yesterday. A lesson in moving stops. Something we know we shouldn't do, but occasionally it creeps in. So I went to make a change in my Daryl, how you doing, buddy? I went to make a change in my Ninja Trader. Hey, Tony. Not my Ninja Trader, my Guardian Angel Trader, but I've forgotten, did it too late. So I'm going to have to do it later. But I was actually okay when I left yesterday. I was $900 down per on the day on my lower accounts. Now, the trouble is, 3 of my accounts have got $5,000 in each. Near enough 900 odd for 900 odd on apart from 147, so around about $5,000. So I kind of get super protective over them because obviously there's something to protect. My newer accounts only had about $400 in, and the trouble is when you kind of haven't got nothing to protect. Hi, enjoy your trade. Excellent, I appreciate that, buddy. Tony, how you doing? Daryl, how are you? So sometimes you can tend to get a bit risky. Now, I'm super cautious with my accounts that have got something in it. And that's the problem sometimes I have with prop firms. So at the moment, some of these accounts I got cost me around about £67. Now, that is my total risk. Now, sometimes when you're risking a smaller amount, it's if I lose that account, it's basically cost me £67 pounds, British pounds, plus the £13 that I had to pay for the evaluation. So there's not a huge risk there. And that's the thing I have, the issue I have with prop firms. You start on zero. So while you haven't got nothing to protect, sometimes it's very easy to take a risk. When you shouldn't really, you should, trade them and protect them, just the same as every account. Whereas if you put your own money in, I'm not advocating putting your own money in if you don't know how to look after it. You start off with say $5,000. You've actually got something to protect. So I find as my accounts grow, I tend to get that little bit more protected. But I shouldn't have moved my stop yesterday. Fortunately, I saw sense and got out, whereas maybe 6 months ago, I'd have kept moving my stop till I either recuperated that money or the accounts would have been blown. So I did have the good sense at some point to avoid that. So, but I'm okay today. I took a trade just on those 5 accounts. The other 2 are locked at the moment. The other 3 are locked just on those 5 accounts. So we had a channel here with what looked like a small break. So we had a channel break, new low, and then a high low. I took that on the engulfing. So 1 tick above there, channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. For me, there was going to be some shorts there. And this thing at the moment is moving up. So I put my order 1 tick above there and got out for 2.75 points. So, what is this market doing at the moment? I've seen a few charts around with the 10,000 tick chart. I'll bring the 10,000 in at the moment. Looking like this thing's in a downtrend. So whether it isn't, I can't trade for the first few minutes anyway. So whether it's like that or it's like that or it's like that or indeed that would fit as well. But where do you kind of draw the line? We've only really touched this twice, but what we can say is it's clearly in a downtrend at the moment. But you may have it there. So I don't know. I've just seen a few charts around with a few people mentioning we're in a downtrend. So it's one of those things, isn't it? So I learned a lesson yesterday. I must not move my stop. It's just not worth it. Yeah, sometimes you'll get away with it, but I think more often than not, it'll sting you. So what I'm going to do now is when I get into a trade is take my hand off the mouse and not touch it till either the trade plays out or it starts to go sideways and I decide getting out might be the better option. So we've had a break there and a new high by a tick. It may be a matching high. Yeah, it is a matching high, so that's fine anyway. And then we've had a break, pull back. So this to me looks like it may be coming down. The 10,000 tick chart is showing signs that price seems to be moving down. Sean, I wanted to take the trade you took this morning, but the bar was too big. Yeah, I agree. I took it on the engulfing. I actually like the trade. We got a channel down, one attempt to go, I second. I thought for sure when that triggered and moved up, it was going to break above there. If that's the case, chances are it was heading for these highs. So I took it on the engulfing, and I didn't want to be too greedy. I got out. It started to freeze a bit. I got out. So let's say I got in there. I got out for 2.75, which was that. I like to get out at the close of these bars, not the wicks. So that's where I got out anyway, but I only did it on the 5 newer accounts. I had a mini tilt session yesterday. Eval's got back into the green. Yeah, it is a horrible feeling. It does happen. It happened to me a lot more 6 months ago and 12 months before that, so it doesn't happen as much. And as I mentioned, the less money you've got in your accounts, the more inclined you are to take a risk. Jan, how you doing, my mate? In that safety program you are using, is it possible to only decrease stop losses but not expand it? It certainly is, mate. It's called, I can't open it and show it at the moment, it's called protecting your stop loss. So if I, say, for instance, have my stop loss here and I'm in a long, I can only move it forwards, or sorry, up, not backwards. So I can only move it in direction of the profit. I can't move it back the other way. So yeah, you can do that. I went to do it a while ago, but when I opened it, it wouldn't let me open it, and I realised that I only have it unlocked between 1 and 2 UK time, and it was about 5 past, I think. So I couldn't change it, but yeah, you can. So yeah, lock stop order. Yeah, it's so. What I think it's best to do is I have my my set at 3 points. Now, I suggest probably setting it at maybe 5 points. I don't really want to take any more than the 5 point risk anyway. So if you set it at, say, 5 points, that way you've got enough to play with so you can quickly kind of, you know. So, okay, I can now trade. So let me just check everything's opening fine.
Order
Sell
submitted.
order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. So
Order
yeah.
cancelled.
Bracket and then correct. Yeah. So 5 points, 6 points, whatever you think. I mean, at the moment you may be in for a 4.5, 5 point bar. So I think if you set it at 5 points or 6 points, then you just bring it into play. And as soon as you've dropped that, you can't move it unless it's in the direction of profit. Now, I remember when I first heard about Guardian Angel Trade, and I put a post on the Facebook group, and it got some good interest, but a couple of people said, oh, if you can't control yourself, you shouldn't be trading. Now, that may be the case, but my answer to that is when you are less experienced, there are emotions in trading. You can't really avoid it. There is a second entry short there. I may be interested in a lower high here.
Order submitted.
Just in case. There are emotions, really, and it's hard to avoid them. Some people are better than others. I admit I'm not the most... What's the word? I'm not the type person who can get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a 5 mile run. I'm not driven like that. I'm driven in other ways. You know, if I put my mind to one, I want to do something, I pretty much always get it. So, you know, I'm kind of driven like that. There's a small break here, I'm guessing. Let's see if this traps that. We may get another leg. There is a bit of support along there, so let's see where this goes. So, you know, I'll be the first one to admit I do react to emotions a bit, but my answer is if there's, I mean, let's think how I can sort of kind of describe it. If there's a bit of software that help you get out of bad habits and help you control those emotions, I think, as far as I'm concerned, use it. If you want to use it, I'm not, some people are driven. Some people can stay at 12 stone 5 all their life, that, they can run every day. They can do this. Some people can. I can't. As I say, I'm driven in other ways. If you get a lower higher, I'll take this. There's going to be some stops there. I didn't want to take that because it's above that EMA. It's a bit congested here. But if we get a lower high, then I will. So I don't have a problem, if someone says I'm cheating or this, that, and that, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. If something works, then use it. It'll get you out of the habit. For me, it's like using stabilizer on a bike. Absolutely. Do you know what? I don't know if you noticed, I stopped the comments on the YouTube channel yesterday. Some guy came on and gave a really nasty negative comment saying, you're always changing your strategy. I don't know where he's got that from. I've been using this strategy now for, I think I know it is, but there is a guy that tried to get me to use his forum. I don't know, maybe a year ago, and occasionally he just writes nasty negative stuff.
Order cancelled.
I never ever, and I never have, wrote negative stuff and nasty stuff about anybody, because the way I see it is this isn't an easy business. It's difficult and it does take time. So why give someone a load of grief? Why be negative with someone? It doesn't help them. The only way I see people do that is to kind of make himself feel better, which I kind of get to a degree. I watched Tom Hugard doing some trading a few weeks ago, and he lost 2 in a row, and it kind of made me feel better. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I want to see someone else, struggle. But what it told me is even experienced traders who know what they're doing lose trades. So it made me feel better. But, I understand some people want to see you fail. Why? I don't know. Maybe it makes them feel better if they're struggling. I don't know. But I generally tend to avoid anything nasty or derogatory or just stuff that's just, there's no need for it. It is a tough business. I don't turn up here every day and stream because I'm an experienced trader who knows what I'm doing. I'm just like you guys. I'm a guy who wants to trade, and I'm learning kind of on the job. So it did work that, but have I closed my order? Yeah, I did. So I'm kind of learning on the job. The reason, and the only reason I started to stream, was I thought if people are watching me, I'm less likely to do something stupid. Now, if you think about what happened yesterday, maybe you could probably argue with me it's not working, but I like being around people, because there's always more experienced people than me. And the way I see it, if we're helping each other out, supporting each other, giving each other tips and comments, new ideas, what's your channel like, what's mine, I think it's good for everybody. Some people might say, oh, you shouldn't be streaming this. Well, I get it. Some people, it is what it is. So that's why I started it. And there's obviously a little bit of money with the affiliates. I'm not going to lie, I'll be honest. And that, with that money from the affiliates and the bits I've been making streaming, gives me enough of a wage to be able to do this full time. So I've just adjusted my commitments to try and spend as much time doing this as I can. So, I'm pretty self-critical. I'm very good at assessing myself and finding out, I'm not proud. I'm not stuck up. I'm happy to know where I'm failing. And I think you have to look at yourself, and if you're struggling somewhere, you've got to be honest with yourself. And I've got some good points and I've got some bad points. I think my patience is good, and I'm being honest. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet here. I have failings, but I think my patience is good. I think the week before Christmas, I sat and took one trade all week. So if you can sit there for about 12 to 15 hours and take one trade, your patience is pretty good. I think my discipline is above average, because I can avoid trades. And I think my skill is okay. I think my skill is about maybe right for someone who's been trading this style for a certain amount. So I'm okay, and I'm happy with my skill level. And I understand trading takes years, and it'll just improve with time. Like, I don't know, like a fine wine, I suppose. Things just get better with age. But one problem I do have, and I'll be the first to admit it, I don't react well taking losses. And for me, that kind of seems like the last piece of the puzzle to get me onto a good road. So I have to just figure out what went wrong, how to stop it again. And in all honesty, I do believe it'll go in time, because I know what it was like 6 months ago, and I know what it was like 2 years ago. And I know other people struggle with it. I chatted. Did you watch Kellyanne's new video yesterday? Some affairs, some affiliates, mate. 200 to 300. You're kidding. Don't know if you've been making much. I'll be honest with you. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Last month I made, and it was a relatively good month because of the offer they had. I made a little over $1,200, which is about £950 UK. And I averaged around about $2,000 per month what I earned from trading over last year. So 2003 so it's enough of a wage. But that's shocking. Having said that, I did see Kellyanne. Now, I don't have a lot of people. I've got 38 people watching me, so it's not a lot of people, and I don't do it for the money. That's not actually fully true. I started streaming not for the money, but it does give me an income, so it's helping me. An Apex into some. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Someone's always getting sued for something. Yeah. So it gives me enough of a wage and enables me to trade full time. Is there a bit of a spiking channel here? And it enables me to trade full time. So it does help me. So the way I see it, it doesn't cost you guys any more money. I don't charge anything. As far as I'm concerned, why should I be charging? I've only been trading 4 years. If I'd have been trading 24, then, but I know Wilson charges, and that's fine. I think Wilson's a nice guy. I've chatted to him before. He charges. That's up to him. I know Thomas Wade charges to be part of his forum and to do this and that. Mac charges. That goes without saying. He's the main man, isn't he? And I know Joe, Trader Joe, he charges. But for me, I have had loads of help from, you risk 9 points, possibly gain 2.7. You risk 9 points. On that trade there. Let's have a look. I got on the engulfing there, so I put it a tick above that engulfing there, so I put it about there. So I risked 6 points there, bud. Not 9, 6 points. I was going for 3. Now, it's a little bit more, but what I will say is I absolutely love the fact that there was likely to be a trap there, so I put it at the close of that bar there. So I think it was about 5 3/4, something like that. There is a second entry short there, but we're going a bit sideways here. We've come up here and pushed down only to here, so I think we may get a break here in this channel. So I'm sitting tight here. So I don't charge, and the reason I don't charge anything is, one, I've only been doing this 4 years. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not an experienced trader. And two, I have had so much help from a lot of you guys, from loads of people on the Facebook group, from people like Marco, from people like Daniel, from loads of you guys, just loads of people. No one's ever said to me they want money from me. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not here to charge people. I'm here to make money. Now, I make some money out of affiliates for one reason only, because it doesn't cost you guys anything. If you guys come here and see, I'm here trying to do this, you see a bit of value, you have a bit of company, maybe you're less experienced than me, maybe you're more, maybe you get something from me. And if you use my affiliates, and you don't have to, you can use anybody's, then it's appreciated. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm never going to charge anybody. Doesn't matter how long I've been doing this, because loads of people have helped me. And as far as I'm concerned, you learn a bit, you get a bit more experience, you pass it on to the newer guys, and it's about passing it down. So let's have a look. FS6, as per Mac video yesterday, he doesn't trade any differently from Big Bar. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Yeah, it's tough on that, isn't it? What I generally do is I have this number here which tells me the ticks. Ordinarily, I don't trade big bars. Now, these newer accounts haven't got much in, so I generally will be a little bit more risky. Have you noticed, though, I didn't trade my 3 big accounts? I got 5 grand in them. I'm not trading 5 grand on 6 points personally. But yeah, he doesn't, does he? Now, to be honest with him, Mac's been trading, I think, 28 years, so he kind of knows how it works, doesn't he? So, yeah, I think if it's a good enough setup, generally, I don't pay as much attention to the size of the bars as I normally would. I tend to go with what the trade looks like, and if it's an obvious trade, I tend to jump in a bit and not pay too much attention. But I am aware of it, which is why I have that bar size counter there. Daniel said the same thing in the Facebook group when I asked him. Always goes for 6 ticks, doesn't care the size of the bar. Yeah. Sometimes I only do when I have the skill. Yeah. I think as your skill level improves, I think you'll adjust the way you do things. Now, I used to pay a lot more attention to the size of the bar than I used to. Now, that's what I tend to pay attention to, the ATR at the moment. That tells me the average size of my risk, which with a tick above, tick below is 4 points. Now, generally as a rule, if that's under 3.5 points, I think 1 contract. Let's say under 4. If it's over 4, I tend to bring it down to 1 contract. Or I'll... Hello? What's caused that? Or I'll wait a bit. Now that's interesting. That is the type of trade I like. But I don't like that little bit of a spike up. And in all fairness, I actually like that trade, but I'm going to avoid it. 2 legs up, bearish bar. I think that'll work. But I don't like that little bit of volatility there. So I'm just going to sit tight here. That type of trade I usually like. How far did it come down for? But that little bit of a spike there, and it is going a bit sideways. See, I would go for 3 points there, so it would have to hit that, but something's going on here. So sometimes if you get these little flutters, it is going a little bit sideways here. Something's going on here. I don't know what caused that. Maybe just a little bit of volatility. But so if you like this channel, we've had a bit of a break. So leg and a leg. Yeah, no, I took it on the engulfing because that for me was the trap. We had a channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher, a bearish bar. I know it's a doji, but it's still bearish. Trigger below, start pushing up. If it breaks above there, for me, this thing's likely to test these highs, and it did. And I only got out for 2 3/4, which is there. So it didn't have much of a move, to be honest with you. And it hit that pretty quick. But yeah, I wouldn't put it up there. It's too big of a bar for that little bit. So I would say now this is starting to look like it's going a bit sideways rather than yeah, it may be a little bit like this now. We've got a little break here, 2 legs down, and a small break here. So I'm not thinking about going short or long here just at the moment. I want to give this a little bit of space. No, generally I go for 1-to-1, which is usually most of the time that ATR is around about the 2.5-ish. I think it spends more time at 2.5 than kind of anywhere else. So with a tick above, tick below the signal bar, trading, what I do is Pats is 3 points. So I go for 3 points. So it's around about 1-to-1. So I think this is probably coming down now, but that is 23 ticks. So I'm not interested in that. Although it clearly worked and quickly. But while that was flicking around there, the thing is we had that big bearish bar. It pushed straight up and broke above it. So there are times when the market's flitting around and I don't feel like it. Yeah, that tick counter there is telling me how many ticks in that current bar. That's my tick counter, countdown at 2,000. 14 ticks is the one in the previous bar. So that number's the current bar in ticks, and that number's the previous bar in ticks. I used to, I can't remember why I had that now. I don't know, but yeah, we had a break out of this, and then a new low, which we often get. No, that one's not. The current one it's free. You'll be glad to know. It's from, I think it's from, you'll never guess what it's called. They are bar size counter. You'd have never got that in a million years, would you? That's where it's from. Ticktech.com. TICKTEC.com. It's free. And it's just nice to know. I don't pay as much attention to it as I used to. It's more now on the on what the setup looks like, really. If it's a good enough setup, if it's a great setup, and the market's clear, they don't fail, in my opinion. Trading Pats, you're welcome, mate. Yeah, ticktech.com. Just Google it, and it's free. And it's just nice to have sometimes. Just gives you a quick representation of what you're looking at, size-wise. So channel down with a break. New extreme there. Test of the lows. There is a bullish bar there. This is flickering around a bit, so I'm guessing there's some volume around here. I don't use any volume profiles. See, what I trade is max system Pats. It's very much like Al Brooks stuff. So it's pretty. There's not a lot of indicators involved. I don't use volume profiles. I don't use order flow. I don't use anything like that. You don't really need it with this. If you know how to read price action, it pretty much tells you what's going on. Now, obviously, you need to understand how the markets work, and context is everything. But generally, you really don't need anything. And I know some people might find that hard to understand, but it's like any strategy. You've got to be doing it for a while to kind of get really how it works. I know I chat with Nick here now and again, and Nick's trying to get me interested in his kind of system, and I don't doubt it works. And I'm curious, just out of anything, but it's very easy to kind of move from one strategy to another. I don't doubt that learning to read some sort of order flow may sort of help or assist me, but it's hard to know, really. So we've had that push down and a little pullback here. This does look bearish overall, this market. If you look on the 10,000 tick chart, it is still working down at the moment, so my guess is it may continue. But it's like any form of trading. It's not as simple as understanding how the strategy works. It's applying it to the correct context of the market. It's the real skill. You can teach someone what a second entry is or a failure in 5 minutes, but getting them to trade it successfully is a completely different matter. And then obviously you've got the added bonus of the emotional connection, which everyone kind of experiences and goes through. So we've got to push down, 2 attempts to push higher. Is this going to continue down more, or is it going to push up now? Who knows? It's a big bearish bar on my other chart, but it's 23 ticks. And I'm just sitting tight at the moment because technically that channel has played out. We've had a break and a new low. So it is a second entry short. It is a big bearish bar, but this channel has played out, so it could push higher. And based on what I can see there, it's probably going to work, but probably isn't enough for me, especially being 23 ticks. It's massive. If that was that bearish, I think it would have started to move, but there's going to be stops down here, so maybe it may have 2 legs down, or there could be something a little bit different. But if you've got that channel somewhere around about there, as we know, most channels, when they have a break, usually make a new extreme or a new low in the case of a downtrend, which it has, so technically it's played out. So it could possibly reverse, or it may just continue down. So that does look like it's working. It is a second entry short, but the bar is massive. And as this channel has already played out, I'm just sitting tight on this one. It's a nice looking bar though, big. But so that would have worked for 3 points, I think. But I don't really want to risk 23 ticks at the moment. So 3 1/4 I'd have to go for, so that would have to hit that level, and it hasn't yet. If it breaks below there, it will do, because there's probably going to be some buyers there. But the way this is holding here, we may get a pullback before we push lower if we do. So there's a failed second entry short there, which is triggered. Let's see where this goes. If this comes down and breaks below there, I think it'll target this area, because there'll be stops there and stops there. It's another reason why I didn't take that, because this is played out. I would only really be interested in a lower high. So because that's played out, I've got to give this a bit of space. So this is my other chart. I use 2 charts. The only difference with this chart is, if anybody doesn't know, I think most of you know, is this one has got break of end of day deselected. And that makes some of these bars ever so slightly different. And sometimes if you've got a good setup, but the signal bar's crap, sometimes on the second chart it might be a little bit better. So there is a failure there, but I'm sitting tight here. Let's have a look at my main channel. There is a lower high there, but it's a bit sideways. And as that's played out, I'm going to give this a bit of time, because it could push up. So we got a break. 1, 2, 3 attempts to go lower. Maybe this will push up. Yeah, there's going to be some stops above this, I guess. So I'm quite pleased. I did like the context of it. It's clearly 2 legs up, big bearish bar, trapping that long. But as this channel's already had a break and a new extreme, I can't take that first one. I got to give it time. And if I would have done it, wouldn't have given me the 3 points, and it would have stopped me out for 23, 24, 25 ticks, something like that. So that's why I just generally leave them. I mean, the setup is beautiful. It's clearly 2 legs and a bearish bar. Now, if this was in the middle of a downtrend and this was right off the key entry point, it would be an absolute perler, because the setup's beautiful, but the context is telling me we've already had a break and a new extreme, so avoid that first trade. I mean, as far as setups go, that's a beautiful second entry short, but the context is wrong. So, you know, if we were in a downtrend, and an obvious downtrend we'd made multiple times, that would be a great short all day long. great short for a Pats trader, that is, if you're trading price action, max price action stuff. It's not for everybody. I know Nick mentioned to me yesterday about a trade that I took. He was avoiding trades around that area for, I don't know, he said it was a danger zone or something. So depends how you trade. I only go for 3 points, so it's a very small movement. So that's it, really, which is not much. So, if, you know, I know Nick goes for a lot bigger movements, so there are reasons why he may be avoiding a trade and I might necessarily not. So that has played out now, and this looks like it is attempting to reverse. So at the moment, this is looking overall rangy. It's still overall down, I think. Now, let me have a look. Yeah, see on this other chart, it is looking rangy, but look, we've been up here 1, 2, 3. If you take that short there, it's triggered you. You may call this a triple test, but with this, the context is telling me to sit tight. So if you'd have taken that, triggered you, stopped you out. So I'm just avoiding shorts at the moment. I don't think that the trouble is, because we've had that and that big bearish bar, it may work. There may end up being something larger, and there is a higher low there, which ordinarily the setup looks great for a higher low, but that is concerning me that prices don't get above there, which is why I avoided that. So there's so many different calculations going on in the background in your brain when you're looking at this chart. Which is why I tend to talk out loud. It helps my process. If you guys wondering what I'm thinking, it might help your decision making. Talking out loud has always been something I've done. Sometimes if I can hear myself, I tend to take it in a bit better. So that looks like a channel to me. That looks like an overshoot. There is possibly some range tops there, so this may start to come down. I am going to put in for a payment in a couple of days of $6,000. I think 2 of them will pass. The one, I'm not sure if I've had that 5 days complete profit on it or not, but I don't mind if we haven't. Okay, so there is an overshoot there. We are finding some support there. Not sure if it's an overshoot. Yeah, see at the moment, which is why I like Thomas Wade's group. It just gives me, you guys can see my chart and then kind of make your own. He's adjusted that now, but he's got it as an overshoot. And he's got it as an overshoot. So I tend to sort of go with the masses, really, if I'm a bit unsure myself. So usually after an overshoot, if I think prices, you know, is trending upwards, I generally avoid that first short. Now, I took a trade yesterday, and Mac actually marked it as a green bar, if I remember rightly. Where was it? A trade I got stung on, or was it that one? No, he mentioned that one there. I took that one. That was the same as his bar. He said that if it was a bearish bar, he would have taken it. On my other chart, it was bearish, and I really liked that, and that worked. And I took a trade there, didn't I? We had a channel. We had 2 legs. Now, it was an overshoot, but we had a correction. Now, I generally avoid that. After an overshoot, because after an overshoot sometimes we'll get a correction, it'll continue higher, sometimes it just pushes straight up, other times it reverses. But then when we had the higher low, that's when I got in, and I ended up moving my stop down to here because I thought maybe that's the better one, and then it came down some more and I got out here in the end. I was quite surprised that was coming down, but a bit of stupidity. But yeah, maybe it is. Thomas Wade has extended it. I always like to assume it's an overshoot. Now, you could say there's two little legs back there and a bullish bar off that bottom. But as we've had that overshoot, I'm generally avoiding anything long at the moment, just in case. Now, if that is a channel and that's not an overshoot, there's no reason why that one should fail, and it is failing. So that tells me we've got two legs down really there, see? So, and that is right off that key entry point. It's about as bullish as you can get. Close right on its high off this key entry point. Why wouldn't you go long there really? Because of that overshoot. So most of the time, if I think it's an overshoot, I'll assume it is, and generally avoid that first trade unless we had a correction like yesterday followed by a higher low. But if you took a long there, trigger just stopped you out, and then look. So this, to me, is looking now like a downtrend, and I would say, based on looking at this 10,000 tick chart, the overall session at the moment, especially over yesterday and today, is downwards at the moment. We're clearly working down now. Obviously, things could change, but you know, my thought process is at the moment things generally overall are down. So it's a proper stacked up here, isn't it? But yeah, that's why I didn't get involved in anything there. So I think sometimes if you think it's an overshoot, assume it is, and that may avoid. You know, I think sometimes if you're not sure, you're better to stay out of a trade than get into it and lose it. Depends where you are. I mean, if you've got anything like that, we're kind of coming to this area and dropping. So I think the overall is you know, bearish at the moment. But obviously, if you're trading 3 points, it could be quite different here. You can't just assume every, you know, we're only taking shorts here, but there's longs to be taken anyway. There's a second entry long there, high low, and that worked nice. But we are stacking up here. Oh, look. So if you took a short there, so it was a double trap, that one. Long triggered, stopped out. Short triggered, stopped out. So when it's stacking up like that, that's the time I want to try and get out of a trade. If I'd have taken that short there and it started to go like this, I'd be looking to get out. Or moving me stop. So if anybody does move their stop, I know Karina mentioned the 30% rule. I risk over 30% of my account yesterday, which is not the end of the world. If you risk the 30%, so as soon as I come to get a payout now, as soon as I go to take a payout, my first one will be refused. So what I'll do is when I get these accounts to $2,600, I'll make a payment. I'll make an order of $500. That it'll flag up that it's had a 30% infringement, and they'll draw the line under it and just make me trade another 8 days. I'm fine with that. So that overshoot has resulted in what looks like a reversal. So it's definitely some flicking around today. So I'm going to draw that. In fact, let's just put a bit of a range here because I think there's definitely some sideways stuff there. Let's put him about there, I think. So overshoot there, lower high. That lower high worked, the failure didn't. There's a little long there if anybody's trading off this bottom, so it's flickering around a bit. And we've pushed down. If we can get a second entry short at here, I'd be interested in going short. And funnily enough, if you look at this 10,000 tick chart, look where it's dropped. Touch, 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 zigzagging here. We have a quick push up with a break, touch that trend and start to drop that trend channel. So second entry short, I don't think we're going to get one there, but second entry short, I'd be interested in that. Yeah, so whether it's the overshoot that's caused that or bouncing off the top of what looks like might be a trend channel, either or. I think going long here with that in mind and the fact that we have hit this level before and dropped would tell me to avoid here anyway, but then it really stacks up. So FOMC tonight, so it may be a lot of this sideways stuff. I usually mark it on here, but I'm done and dusted. I can't trade after 6 UK time. My guardian angel won't let me. So it's fine. Sometimes I will watch that because it can be interesting. So this is looking kind of rangy with a bearish feel to it, I think. So channel break, leg and a leg. Yes, it is, bud. I didn't realise till somebody mentioned it yesterday. So at the moment, if you look on the top of here, the offer's gone. It's 50%, but you can have a reset for $35, which is still 80% off, and pay $85 fees. So it's still attractive to pick up. You know, any if you want to keep going at the moment. I would normally avoid 50%. 50% is about the base level. Doesn't get any worse than that. So generally, as for me, I won't take an evaluation if it's 50% off. It's just too much. I'm not paying $85. But if you've got any accounts that are still blown within a week, you can reset them. I think it's within a week. You can reset them for $35, and if you pass it, you can pay $85. Now I don't know how long the $85 is on for, but I know it's a couple of people mentioned it on a Facebook group yesterday. They paid $85. So if you are in the market, then you can still pick up, you know, reasonably priced valuation PA. Yeah, for me, it's about the $85. 140, I think, is too much. 85, that's quite a chunk of change cheaper, especially if you're picking up 3, 4, or 5 of them. So yesterday, with that ridiculous trade, it ended up $900 down in the day. And I try and think about what happened and process it. And the way I'm looking at it now, sometimes I'd be trying to get around Guardian Angel Trader and Revenge Trading, but I don't generally do it now. And the way I see it, 3 trades and my account's back to where it was. So, you know, it's not undoable. You know, sometimes I was at the stage a while, maybe a year or so ago, that if I was down at all, I couldn't walk away. Now I don't mind it. I found it so hard to walk away in the past. That's so I know I am improving, but not quite at the pace I thought I might do. So there's like a little double bottom there. That's quite steep and a leg. So I'd expect that to at least get up here, but I'm not getting involved in here. I'm not very good at picking tops and bottoms, so I'm avoiding it. there is a leg with a break and a leg, and there is a bullish bar followed by a higher low. So I think it may get up here or to the EMA, but as I say, I'm avoiding them. They don't fill me full of confidence taking them trades. Let's see where it goes if it gets up there. So it's about there, isn't it? So I'd probably expect it to get to there, but I hate picking tops and bottoms here. You never know. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But there is a little second entry short there. Let's see if that triggers. If it does, I'm hoping it's going to stop that out, because if I took a short there, that far from the EMA, I'd expect that to lose. So if that triggers, which it hasn't yet, I'd say it's going to go up to the EMA. But there's 3 little bounces there, so it has. So that would have worked comfortably for 3 points or 3 1/4. It went up for 4 1/4. So mind you, it depends where you took it, of course. You took that a tick above there, it went up for 3. I'd have got 3 points. It would have to push through, so I would have hit that. So there is kind of almost like a hidden... Well, it is technically a second entry short, that, but as we've bounced off this area and this thing is starting to look a bit rangy, I'm just ignoring this. There's a market. It certainly is, mate. Yeah, it is. It's Jimmy Carter, isn't it? Jimmy Carter's funeral. Which is not a tragedy, of course. He lived to 100. What a fantastic life. Well, certainly a long life. God, I'll tell you what, if you offered me 80 now, I'd snap your hand off. The amount of nasties it can get you. So it's not a tragedy. It's just a celebration of more of a life, really, is it, when you get to that age? That's fantastic, that is. Not many people get to live to 100, do they? Amazing, that. 100 years old. So, yeah, in remembrance. Apparently, the markets close at 8. They're open overnight, but they close at 8:30 tomorrow. It doesn't quite make much sense, that. So they're open as normal. I think they close at 5 Eastern time, open at 6, and they're open overnight and close at 8:30 in the morning, which is a bit odd, isn't it? I think they kind of close before they're really opening. So, yeah, enjoy the day tomorrow. So, there's like a hidden second entry short there, but I'm staying out of this. It could continue down, or it could push back up into this rangy area. Or it could continue down, which this thing looks like it's doing, unless it's just clearing out this. You don't know, yeah. You have a great day off, Jan. Take it easy, bud. So there's going to be some stops there, you'd guess, wouldn't you? So it's clearing out them, I think. And oh, look, we've had another bounce there. Okay, so maybe there is a channel with a break and a new extreme. So let's clean this up a bit. So channel with a break and a new low by a tick. So that channel overshoot, channel break, new low, channel overshoot, still attempt, channel break, new low by a tick. So same again, channel down there, break, new low, channel up, break, matching high, channel down, break new low. So all these channels generally play out, don't they? So channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go. This may go lower. It is overall bearish, but I don't want to go short into that. We've bounced there 3 times now, so it may come and retest this, but I don't want to go short into that, especially now. See, it may go down, clear out some stops around here, and then so it's a bit unclear what it's going to do here. What day is it today? It is Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's cleared out any possible stops there. And made a new low of the day. So let's see what happens now. So if you took that one, it was too big in my opinion. Going short right into there is a no-no, I think. I wouldn't do it. And this looks like now we've cleared out any stops. It could go higher or it could continue down. But until we get out this range, I don't really want to think about shorts yet, because at the moment we've been going pretty much sideways. So excuse me a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a minute. Okay, excuse me on that. Okay. Look, I think the overall is bearish, but currently it's going a bit sideways, I think. The volume's a little bit lower, I think, today, possibly because of the FOMC later. Got one big down channel midline working perfectly from here, or because I have got I've got that on the 10,000, so that is telling me from the very top, I'll have a look and see. That's telling me generally it's overall coming down. We had the open yesterday, had a quick drop then, had 2 legs up to a new high, and then it spent the day generally coming down. We had a little bit of a rally at the end of the day, and then a couple of legs up when the market opened, and generally we're coming down. So I think the overall bias is down at the moment. Let's have a look. You got it from here, have you? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, bud. The trouble is it's missing all this. So, see, if I'm not sure, you guys have opinions, and then I have a flick on here and just see what people are thinking at the moment. He's got that channel I have with the break new high, that one with the overshoot and then the drop. So he's pretty much got it as sideways. He kind of has as well. Thomas again. Pretty much, yeah. So at the moment, it's not super clear. Yeah, it's a bit, I mean, we've definitely got a channel there. I like that. And we've got a couple of legs up and then straight down for a new low. So that's played out. Overshoot, which is resulting in a reversal. And it's pretty much bounced and pushing up. So I think at the moment it's pretty much ranging, but I think there is definitely a bearish feel to it. I would certainly be more comfortable taking a short than a long. But you know, if I think you're right, I'll put it. But at the moment, from there, if you put it to there, we've had a break. If you put it to there or there, we're missing out all that middle stuff. So it kind of fits in the middle. But yeah, I think it's just more sidewaysy with a kind of a slight bearish feel to it at the moment, I think, bud. That's what I see. But, you know, I think ultimately it's how it feels to you. Yeah, look, Thomas Way has just posted that bearish bias still present. So yeah, I like it. Looks just like yesterday. I mean, I'll definitely agree with, this is the 10,000 tick chart. That shows yesterday, this shows today. So there's definitely a bearish feel to it. I would certainly prefer that one because we touched once, twice and three times and then a quick strong push down. So, the overall is down, I think. So that's based on that 10,000 tick. So yeah, look at that. See. So we got a channel up there. Let me just get this accurate. You could say there's a small break there. You could argue. Trouble is, it's very easy to incorporate that and then take a long there, which triggers you, came down and stopped you out. So sometimes you've got to be brutally accurate with these things, and it's surprising that a little difference like that could change the pace. Because I bet 9 out of 10 people haven't got that as a break. He hasn't. So it's one of those things that can catch you out. I wouldn't take that long anyway at the moment. I would have to have kind of two legs really, but it's a bit unclear, but it does trigger and then comes and stops. So I would say small break there, new eye. Trouble is, at what point do you adjust it and at what point do you say it's had a break? You know, I've been watching Mac now for about 3.5 years, and sometimes I can't understand what makes him assume something's had a break or not. Because sometimes I'll see him mark an overshoot, other times he'll extend it. So I think with experience, you'll just kind of... but, you know, there's nothing stopping that coming back to the EMA and continuing up. So at what point? So I think what you have to do is just, with experience, do what feels right and you'll just generally get better at it. Because it's not easy, is it? I've been doing this now, well, trading this strategy for 3.5 years, and I still have days where I get caught out. And I think, you know, for me, my main issue is accepting losses, not the trading. I'm good enough to be able to make money, but not good enough to be super confident in everything I do in this business, you know. But another year I expect to be better. Another year after that I expect to be better. I was chatting with Nick yesterday. A guy comes in here now and again, and he's mentioned this strategy to me, and I take some interest because I'm always interested in what people have got to say. You know, you may pick bits up, learn something new. A strategy, and then he said he'd been trading it for 10 years, and that's the thing. If you've been trading something for 10 years, a certain strategy, you can bet they'd be pretty good at it. But I've been trading this now. Like Max says, it takes years to get really good at this stuff. You can get competent at it. Some people do it quite quickly. It just depends. It's like anything in life. Some people are naturally good at it. Some people struggle with it, you know. I mean, I like snooker. I watch a lot of snooker. And you watch people like Ronnie O'Sullivan, and it's just the most naturally gifted player you've ever seen. And then you see other players who've got to work their ass off to hit good standards. So, like every walk of life, some people are just naturally good at it. Some people have just got the right attributes for the certain sort of task ahead. I kind of think I'm somewhere in the middle. I have good parts and I have parts that I'm going to be struggling with, but I think it's important to look at every different aspect of your trade and try and improve. We know where our weaknesses are and we know where our strengths are, and I think it's letting the strengths just continue to sort of manifest and get better, and then trying to pick your weak points and trying to improve on them. So there's a failure there, but this thing is a little bit choppy. So I would tend to stay out of this because it does look a bit trappy, this. We've had a push down. There may have been some shorts thinking we're going to... And that triggered the shorts and stopped them out. Same there, you may have gone long, trigger just stopped you out. So it's a little bit trappy around here, I think. And rightly so. It is chopping up and down a bit. Same boat as you, Lance. The yo-yoing evals has really hurt me. Some so planning to longer than that create so many bad habits. Yeah. Do you know, I don't advocate putting your own money in unless you've been doing this long enough and you know what you're doing. But what I will say is if you're an experienced trader, I would say it'll be easy having your own money than trading a prop firm. So at the moment, one of my evaluations has cost me about £67. That is all I'm risking on my whole PA account, although I've got X amount of dollars in it. If I put $5,000 in my own money, I'm already got money to make money. I can start making money every month. Only a small amount with 5,000, but I can start making money. But when you start a PA account, you start on zero. And you've got nothing to lose in a way. So I think it's human nature. The more you risk, the more careful you are with it. I mean, if you're walking across a beam, 1 foot in the air, you probably mess around and you probably fall off it a couple of times. If you were doing it 20 foot in the air, you've got a little bit to lose there, haven't you? You could break a leg if you fall off that thing. So it's like anything in life. The more risk, generally, the more careful you are. And that's the problem with prop firms, because they're so cheap and you're not risking much. It's very easy to take silly risks and get into bad habits. And I think that's kind of why prop firms is a good money maker for some of these firms, because they know, human emotions get played on. We've got a leg and a leg. This may come down there. So that's the downside, and it is easy to get into bad habits. I have terrible habits trading evaluations, but I was listening to Nutty the other day. He's blown way more than me. He said he spent $42,000 the year before last on evaluations and PA fees and made $5,000. Last year, since he got Guardian Angel Trader and just improved, he spent about $40,000 but made $200, so that's acceptable. So it just goes to show you, if you're not careful, it's very easy to get into bad habits and just throw money at it, and that's the issue I've had. So my new rule now, until I make money, I'm not putting any more of my own money into it. And what I do from now on is, if I make something, I'm going to take 25% of it and reinvest it. I think we've had a leg and a leg there. It's kind of a nice correction. If this thing is overall bearish, it may come down. Now, I'm not getting involved, but it's just my sort of observation. But But it is easy to get into bad habits, and it is frustrating. You know, there's nothing worse than feeling uncontrolled and you're jumping in at trades left, right, centre, and you know you're pushing your luck. But, you know, it's not an easy business. We all know that. And it just takes time. We do get better with age. Yeah, that kind of didn't make sense for a second, but you know what I mean. If you look back on some of my older videos, taking 5-6 trades a day and stupid trades, you know, I don't do anymore, but I still have my little gripes where sometimes I have little issues, like yesterday moving that stop. I wouldn't do it on my accounts with money in, but because there was only $400 in those accounts, that's why I took the risk. There's no way on God's earth I'd have done that with my $5,000 accounts. And I know you may say, well, that shouldn't be the way it is. And I agree with you. But, you know, the more at risk, the more careful you are. I couldn't trade my other 3 accounts on that bar. And in all honesty, I wouldn't have risked $600 on my $5,000 accounts. But the smaller ones, I did. Unfortunately, it paid off. So the more you risk, the more careful you are. And it's just kind of the way life is. If I'm driving down the road in a £2,000 car, you know, bat an eyelid. If it was a £200,000 car, I would be extremely careful. So this for me now is just rangy, I think. Let me just try and make it fit somehow nice. If we put it about like that, and then about like that, small break out there, and often we get one the opposite side. Is another reason why that trade I took the other day failed, I think, because we had a small break at the top. So at the moment, I think with a slight bearish feel, this thing's more or less just going sideways, and it may be because of that the FMC later. It is frustrating when you do something stupid, I've got to say. But what I notice is I have a less of a desire now to revenge trade. And I'm trying to hold on to that feeling, and I'm trying to... oh, is this coming down now? I'm trying to hold on to it, and I'm trying to sort of reinforce it. But I had an experienced trader phone me about 1.5 years ago. He said he'd been trading for lots of years, and he watched my channel because he likes the company. And he just phoned me up. He said I had to because you remind me of himself when he started. And he said for him, he threw away tons of money at it, and he just got to a point where he got that sick of losing. He said it went off like a switch. And he wasn't necessarily any better of a trader. He just stopped being self-sacrificial. He called it self-sacrificing. Because if we do something silly, we kind of want to punish ourselves. And he said this, he just hit a point where it just went like a switch. He got that sick of losing and just doing it on purpose that it just stopped. And he said from then his just trading took off. It changed when the pain of staying the same becomes great and the pain of changing. Mark Douglas. Interesting comment there, mate. It's a shame he's no longer with us, Mark Douglas, is it? Because I think he had a lot of interesting things to say. Another guy I've watched now and again is Paul. He's a British guy, an ex-Royal Marine Commando. What's his name? He's got 2 first names. Paul something. He's interesting, but yeah, I've got his book and I've watched his videos. But you're exactly right. It's weird how when we do something silly and we're frustrated, we kind of want to punish ourselves, don't we? it kind of doesn't make sense really, but it's just is how we work, oddly enough. Trading's never going to be easy. The amount of money you can earn in trading, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. But yeah, people only change when the pain of staying in the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. Yeah, interesting. I like that. Yeah, it's a good comment there. Sometimes if I see these comments, I print them out. Take a little snap of that. Sometimes the most obvious comments just seem to hit a spot, don't they? Take a little snap. I've got a couple of things on my wall. What's that? Success is measured against achieving. I can't read it. It's behind my screen. You probably heard it before. Yeah, it's. Let's have a look. So there's a little bullish bar there and a bearish bar. This is probably going to come down for a second leg, but it is sideways, and who knows where this thing's going to go at the moment. There may be a little uptrend there. Channel break, new low. That might not be a terrible trade, you know. I'm going to get an order ready.
Order submitted.
Channel break, new low, off the key entry point. It's 18 ticks.
Order cancelled.
Trouble is, it is still very sideways, and we've kind of hit this top again, so I think at the moment I'm just going to sit tight on this. Well, it hasn't worked anyway. It never triggered, fortunately, but there was a little channel with a break. We had a push up here and a higher low, but it never triggered. If it had done, I think there'd have been some traders in there. Yeah, look. Consider a higher low here. Second entry long, fell second entry short. So there was a few. Oh, he's got that like that. So there's a few traders thinking about taking a long there. Channel break, new low, big bullish bar. There was a failure, a long failure there, which triggered and pushed up, but it never broke above there. If it had broken above there, it may have been different. High low yesterday, it came down. Yeah, it did, didn't it? That was the one I think that was the one I took that I ended up moving my stop. I would prefer a triple test here before I consider going long. Trouble is, the overall, I think, has got a bearish feel to it. So, where was that one I took yesterday? It was there, wasn't it? It was the higher low there. How did I have that channel? Let me have a look. See, Mac had it like that with a break. Trouble is, usually you'll do it like that, but if it has a break and a new high, and then has another new high, you usually extend it. So I extended it to that. Now, I thought there's an overshoot. And after an overshoot, sometimes we'll get a reversal, and other times we'll get a correction. It'll continue on. And that looked like enough of a correction for me to say, okay, let's wait for a higher low. And we had a higher low, and I took it. And it went up for about 2.25, 2.5 points. Now I go for 3 points. Now I think I got into it probably a few ticks higher, so it just wasn't enough for me, unfortunately. Does it worth scalping the ES with 2 contracts? 1 to 2 points, no more each day. Let me just put this back and I'll have a re-look at that. So it's just one of those things. It may have worked that, but I don't know. Let me just get back to here a minute. Does it worth scalping the ES with 2 contracts for 1 or 2 points, no more each day, or is it a waste? That, I think, is a personal decision to make, because I know some guys who still trade a point. I know some guys who trade 6 ticks. I know some guys who trade 2 points. I know some guys who trade 3 points. I know some guys who trade 1 to 1. So it depends. But I think how I weighed up, because I started with a point, and then maybe a year and a half ago I went to 2 points, and then I looked back on all over my trades for a period of about 3 months, and I looked at other people's charts as well, and I worked out if I took excuse me, if I took 1 point, 6 ticks, 2 points, 2.5 points, and 3 points, and I worked out where I would be financially, and it was absolutely a no-brainer. 3 points was by far the best. Now, even in a bad trade, sometimes you'll still get a point and it will go against you, so you will lose more trades, but it's not as many as you think. And if you're a good chart reader and you wait for really good setups really go. So it's a personal decision to make that. But I would say, I think the starting point is 2 points. I wouldn't go for anything less. Minimum 6. I know Marco goes for 6 ticks, and I know Daniel goes for 6 ticks. But even Max said a couple of months ago, if you're only going for 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for more than 1 point. The numbers don't work. You're welcome, Necross, anytime, mate. So look at your trades and look at other people's trades. You know, look at people like Max and work out what they'd have gone for, and just see if it's worth doing. But yeah, Max said if you're trading 1 to 2 contracts, you can't just go for a point. The numbers don't work. Now, there are people like Jan, who is very good at going for a point, but I think he goes for a little bit more now. So whereas Matt goes for 20, he trades 20 contracts, 5 of which he uses on a runner. Matt's a brilliant chart reader. He'll make most of his money on his runners, and his kind of 1 point scalp is his kind of basic wage, if you like. So I'm not telling anybody to do what I do. I think you have to, with experience, I think you'll start to see, if you take a trade in and every time it's making massive amounts, at some point you'll look into it and ask yourself the question, is it worth me trying to take more? But what you need to do, if you do decide to that, you have to let them run. Because if you're counting the numbers on how the trades played out, you have to let the trades played out to get the same result. There's no point in saying, oh, I don't like this, we'll get out for 2 points, because that alters the numbers and it doesn't work. So, and not only that, trading 3 points, I wait for better setups and I need to take less trades. And I think sometimes less trades is only a better thing, isn't it? So yeah, it's a personal decision. That it depends on the individual. It depends on your risk tolerance. Depends how mad you are. But yeah, it's a personal decision. That. Yes, it's getting a little bit choppy, isn't it? We had a channel with a break. In fact, we had 2 legs down, but I wouldn't want to go jumping into a long here at the moment. I need to make this day count to get a payment, but I believe I could open a trade and close it on a micro, I think. I don't think it really matters. You've got to trade 5 out of 8 days have to have a profit of more than $50. And I've had 5 winning trades on my main PAs out of 6 days, I think, or out of 7 days. So I got another couple of days. So I don't think it really matters what you do. So I may just drop a contract and just open up for a tick or not, but it'll get me to a payment. That I'd like to try and get there organically, but if it means just for the sake of a day. See, also I go over. What's going on? Groups. I look at Marco's and Daniel's charts as well. This was Daniel's chart from a couple of days ago. He won't mind me showing this if he posts it for all to see. So if you look at the trades there, he's marked. That one clearly went for 3 points. 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 So straight away, if you take 2 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, and you take an extra point, you're up $500. Straight away, you've more than paid for yourself a loss. Where's Marco's? Here's another one of Daniel's. So clearly 3 points, clearly 3 points. Clearly 3 points, clearly 3 points. There's again 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another 4 trades. There's 9 trades. So if you went from 2 points, you're up $900. So you paid straight away for 3 losses. You've got 3 loss credits if you want to look at it like that. Marco's. Clearly 3 points, clearly 3 points, clearly 3 points. There you go, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're up $1,200. You paid for 4 losses. And that's having 2 points. So who's this? Marco again. That one did 5. That one would have done, and that one. So same again. It's a no-brainer for me. I could take the next 5 losses, and I'd still be better off than going for 2 points. We haven't lost one yet. Let's have a look. That went for 3. That went for 3. These are 5 points there. So from there to there, that went for 5. That easy. So same again. 1, 2, 3, another 4. You're up a stack of money straight away. I can afford 6 or 7 losses and still be better off. We'll have one more. Another one. Marco. He's not marked anything there. Next one. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Now, that's assuming you're taking the trades he's taking. And I think, to be fair, 9 out of 10 trades he's taken, I 100% agree with at least. Daniel. So let's have a look at this. So that one would have done, that one would have done, that one would have done. I'm yet to find one that hasn't. You know, so it's a no-brainer for me, but you have to do your own work. There's another one. That one did. Both of those did. That one 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 did. You know what I mean? It's, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Oh, shoot, is it? Let me just get rid of Facebook. Why can I not get rid of Facebook? Okay, Windows and down, isn't it? Windows down. No, hold on a minute. The wrong one's moving. Windows and arrow down. There we go. Gone. Very unlucky yesterday with that second trade. Yeah, first one was textbook. I'm sure you're back. Yeah, I'm okay with it, mate. To be fair, so many trades I don't understand at all. I just know Thomas. His entries for me, they're all buy below the EMA after break even. Max strategy, yeah. You know, I would say 8 out of 10 of the trades I take, Mac marks, Thomas marks. Most people do. You know when there's the good setups, and you know sometimes when you've pushed your luck. But I think the more you do this, the more you'll start to develop that general understanding where you all kind of think alike. Now, there's a slight difference in the fact that Mac will mark some riskier trades because he does only go for a point. And like you and Mac say 1,000 times, if you've got a point, back to that EMA, take the trade. I wouldn't, but if he would, because he goes for a point. Because I go for a little bit more. There are some that he would take that I wouldn't. So, and he always finds a lot more, but he is way more experienced. So. But the more you do this, the more you watch Mac's trades, the more you look at Marco's trades and Daniel's, the more you'll start to see basically the same picture. And not only that, even if you knew nothing about trading, if you sat here for 3 hours every single day of your life, for 5 days a week, that's how people come up with new strategies, sitting here looking at the charts every day. You can't help but notice price doing certain things. So we've got a channel there with a break, 2 pushes to a new low, and whether there's something larger here, we've had a break there and we're up here now retesting this area. So we had a small break there, and often we get the same in a small break here. And I think that's why a trade I took failed there, because we had a small break over it and we had a small break below, stopped me out and ended up going where I wanted it to anyway. So, but there are so many different strategies out there. You know, sometimes I get messages from people, why don't you try this, why don't you try that? And I do show an interest sometimes, but when you've been doing something for 3.5 years and you know it works and you appreciate why you might not make a ton of money, is the fact that 1, there's the emotional contract, and 2, it takes time. But you have to find a strategy that works really and just stick at it. You can't really go from strategy. Someone said in a comment yesterday, I ended up deleting it in the end. He went, you're always going from one strategy to the other. That's the one thing I never do. I've looked into the penguin style, but that is basically the same as Max, but on a slightly bigger scale, but it's the same principles. But I don't know, sometimes you only get negative comments when you mess up. But I don't get many, to be honest with you. But I don't think negative, well, I say negative, honest comments, yeah, but when people are just nasty, it don't help anybody, really. It just makes you feel even lower. I know where I am. I know my strengths and weaknesses. I know I'm making money. I can make money. Vultures are all lurking. Yeah. You know, I get sometimes if you win for a day and other people lose, it kind of makes you feel better. And it's not because they've failed. It's you realise things don't just happen to you. It's like when I saw Tom Hugard take them losses. I didn't feel better because because he's lost and I didn't that day. I felt better because I realised that a very experienced trader still take losses and still make mistakes. So it kind of makes you feel like, you know, because it's very easy to get that understanding that great traders never lose. They always make a ton of money. They win everything. And it's not the case. And it's not often we get the chance to observe experienced traders. It's not many experienced traders make videos like Tom Hugard, but we know he's been around for donkey's years and we know he can trade. But, you know, and sometimes we all go through rough spells. I know Wilson's struggling a little bit at the moment. He's lost the last 5 trades in a row. But Wilson's another one of those guys who just hangs around. He doesn't give up. He just keeps battling. And they're the people, really. When should you expect a 90% off? Oh, I haven't got a clue, mate, to be fair. What I would say at the moment is if you've blown an account and you've got anything available, you can reset it for $35, which is about 80% off. And then the $85 PA fee is still available at the moment. So that's a reasonable deal, to be honest with you, but only if you've blown an account. But I don't know, to be honest with you. Don't often have the 90% anymore. It's usually 80%. So they've been a bit tight with it. Well, tight, stingy, what's the word? But they've been a little bit not as forthcoming with their offers lately, Apex. I don't know why. Just might be the, you know, the way things are, time of year, giving people a break. Giving their staff a break, I don't know. It is still on, yeah, I didn't realise it. Somebody mentioned on a Facebook group yesterday, and then a couple of people said, yeah, I paid $85 this morning. So if you've got an evaluation that you've failed, you can reset it for $35, which is about 80% off. And then if you pass it, we still pass within a day. There's the 85. So it's not a bad deal in all fairness. But it's not as obvious. I was unaware of it until someone said they paid $85 yesterday, and then a few people came forward and said, yeah, they did. But there was no mention about it. Usually they say on the website or something, and they haven't done so. Yeah, it's the price of the evaluation I'm not too concerned about. It's more the PA fees, and I'm hoping they keep that at $85. Have you seen in the case files how much they earn every month? Yeah, I did. Being sued by someone. Yeah. Yeah. I was amazed how much they make. They're definitely making a ton of money. I don't think the amount of money they're making being sued is going to make a little dent on them, I don't think. Trouble is, when you got money, there are always people out there to... In fact, Thomas Wade has incorporated that in. He's got that like that. Not sure at the moment. Absolutely insane, yeah, I know. Yeah, pretty solvent. No worries about them going out of the game. I know, yeah, I was quite amazed. They're making millions. I like to think I contributed to a lot of that. Not quite the millions, but a fair few thousand. Yeah, I don't quite understand why some of these companies have gone bust. I don't know what they're doing wrong, but... Hello, Karina. How you doing? Yeah. I didn't realise that he'd kind of taken over. Daryl Martin is just kind of a... He's kind of a main player, isn't he? But I always thought it was the other way around. I thought John Skelton was kind of like a... You know, maybe a manager or something like that. I thought it was all Daryl Martin. Run to Dubai. I hope I see him there, Karina. Hey, maybe one day. I know Daryl Martin's been in Dubai recently. He went on holiday there, didn't he? His family, but there's a lot of money. I can't see Apex going anywhere. Definitely not. In fact, after seeing that, I'm more happy with Apex than anybody. He's second in command. Apparently, John Skelton is the big boss now. I think he's, well, on paper. But you never quite know what goes on sometimes in these companies, do you? But yeah. So, yeah, channel with a break and a new low. So, Thomas Wade extended this. I'm not. I think it's risky doing that. Let's have a look. I don't think it was a trade there anyway. So, we've got a little channel down here with a break and a new low now. So, I don't want to go long here. Now, it may be the case that this channel is wider, but that one was a nice fit, and that to me looked like a break. And not only that, I don't want to go long here for two reasons. One, because we bounced here and we know we're getting a bounce up here, so that might be the reason why this is going down. And two, we have had a break and a new extreme, so technically it's played out. So I'm just avoiding trades at the moment, certainly long, and I think short at the moment as well. But there is a lower high there, but I won't want to trade around here at the moment. You just don't know. But I'd say the safe option is to assume that is a break. It fitted really nice. We got a touch, sitting nice there. Apart from that, yeah. Have a look at this. Someone's got a channel here. I can't quite figure out what. What tick chart is that? 2000 tick chart. I'm sure, didn't, who was it mentioned it? Was it Jay? Didn't you say you had a chart like that? That's the 2000 tick chart. How the hell has he got that fitting like that? Let me just have another look. Oh, or is it from there? No, it can't do. if he's got that from that, it's touching there. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. That's how he had it. Sorry. I had a break out of it now. Was that how you had it, Jay? Was it? I'm sure you said right from the tops. So maybe this is a break and we're expecting I don't know. It's so hard, isn't it? There's a mixture of you took the lower high of the triple test for 4 points. Good on you, mate. That lower high, yeah. I'm assuming that's a break anyway. Having said that, if you do extend this down there, funnily enough, it fits. But that could lead you into a false sense of security and trap you. So at the moment, I'm just kind of sitting tight here. So maybe it is. Maybe it is a bigger channel. Yeah, we did have a triple test there, didn't we? I got mixed feelings. I generally don't tend to think too much about counting now. I tend to just wait for something I like the look of. And here I'm just a bit uncertain whether this is going to try and tackle the top of this or not, but I didn't expect that. It's definitely kind of going sideways, isn't it? So it is a bit trappy in parts. Yeah, so if you still have got any evaluations which you failed, you can reset them for $35, and the 85% PA fee is still on at the moment. I don't know how long for, but and it's still 1 day to par, so it's the equivalent of 80% off and $85, which is not that terrible. I was tempted to get one, but I have set a new rule with a new year that says I can't until I get a payment, which is a rule I'm going to stick to for once. No new evals in capital letters until I get a payout. So that's it. Screen time 3 hours a day. Live trading time 5 minutes after the market opens to 6 p.m. UK time. Continue to work on discipline and patience. 1 loss per day. So I got to try and follow this as best I can. Well, I'm going to. So 2 little legs up there, or 1 big leg, depending on how you look at it. So maybe there is a bigger channel there. Mind you, even if there is a bigger channel, we've now had a break of it. So I'm still not a massive fan of that. I don't know. But what I will say at the moment, and this may have something to do with this up and coming FOMC minutes coming out. Usually, I think, I don't know, I don't pay too much attention. I pay attention to when the news is just to keep out of it, but I generally don't pay much attention to what happens during it. It doesn't really matter as a trader, does it, generally? Market's careering up, we can trade it. If it's careering down, we can trade it. So we got a little leg with a break and a new low. Quick, strong push up. But we're hitting this area again. We've been up here a bunch of times today, so it is finding some support there. But is that going to be enough to push this back down? Okay, excuse me. In fact, what time is it? How long have I been going? An hour and 45 minutes. I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break while it's making up its mind. I'm getting a bit thirsty. So I'll make a cup of tea and bring it up. So I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Boom. Right, what have I missed? Nothing really. So break, new high. One attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. There's a higher low there and a failure. That's not convincing enough for me. Yeah, there are some. Still looking at that. I'm just not so sure, to be honest with you. Maybe it is. The trouble is, we're coming into this area now where that's a bit too wide for me, I think. I'm just going to leave it as it was. And see what happens. Is that where I had it, was it? Something like that. It's getting a bit choppy around here. See, there is technically a second entry long there, but it's a fair sized bar there. And that may be a trap. I thought it might be when that was pulling down, but it came down and stopped at the EMA. So there may be something larger up here, but I think what's more important is we've bounced, and bounced. We're struggling a bit here, and rightly so. We've been up here a few times before, so I mean, price is trying to go up. I thought I think really if that was a trap, when it went like that, I thought it would have continued down, but it held above that EMA, and so is that as well. It could still come down. I mean, maybe it is a larger channel, but ultimately for me it's going sideways, and this is the area where I don't really want to be trading long. Actually, my other chart looks much better. Touch, 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 touch. 2 legs up. There's a second entry long there. Trouble is it closed at the EMA, and there is a bit of support along there, so that is a trade I would have avoided just in case. We've been up here 1, 2, 3 times and we got a bearish bar which did come down, so you don't know whether it's going to trap that and it's going to come down some more, because there's definitely some support along there. So I'm just sitting tight here at the moment. See what I mean? Every time we hit this level, we come down. But I don't want to be doing it if there is a larger channel, which there could be. So there is 2 legs up there, but if this is a big uptrend, I don't really want to be going short. Yeah, it's a little choppy. It's whooping up and down a bit. I know it's a terrible place to take a short, but it's just I'm not very good at picking tops or bottoms. You could extend your big uptrend. Well, to be honest with you, mate, I've got it working both ways. I've got that one fitting, and the other one as a break. So I'm kind of keeping my options open here because I don't know. That did look like a break and then a strong push up. And not only that, the reason I'm kind of thinking sit tight at the moment is because we've had bounce. Yeah, no trading tomorrow. It's Jimmy Carter's funeral, isn't it? So they're not taking any trades tomorrow. Market actually closes 8:30 in the morning, which is a bit odd. Yeah, we've bounced here a few times, so I don't know. Perhaps it's me being a bit overcautious, but it is very choppy here. It is whipping up and down, and if you get caught out or you're not quite confident in what you're doing, it can, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it is a second entry long, but when we've had like a triple bounce up here, I do wonder whether it'll trigger me. Once that triggered and started to come down, I thought that's coming down and to stop that out, but it did hold. I think some took it and some didn't. Yeah, some are looking at it as a break. So he's got it as a break. He's got it as a break. He's got it as a channel. He's got it as 10,000 tick chart, that is. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, I look at these and kind of make my own decision, but I'm a little bit on the fence here. It's a little bit sideways and a little bit choppy. But as we're hitting this area, I think ultimately, overall, more than a channel up, it's a range. And sometimes we'll have these channels like this. It'll just come straight down and push and bounce. Now, it did go down here and make a new low, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes a channel will just go straight up and hit the top and come straight down. So I'm a bit cautious around here because I'm not sure what I think price is going to do. I don't want to be going long into this because I can see there's some support. There is a second entry long possibly forming here, but depending on what's going on here, I don't know. I mean, if I put it like that, we've got a break. 1, 2 pushes up to a new high, which may mean it may reverse. And it may reverse because it's bouncing at this area. So I got multiple ideas going through my brain here. Some of them aren't worth thinking about. So, but I have got it on my other chart as well, just to give me a kind of a different perspective. But we're getting up, and then we kind of go sideways. So, see what I mean? It's reacting to that top. So let's see what it does here. I mean, it could continue on up. Who knows? But I'm looking at this. I think it's more of a range, so I'm trading it as more of a range, really, which means I think it's more likely to come off the tops and down. See, break, 2 pushes, depending on how you're looking at it. I think we may be getting some downward movement there. There's going to be stops here, you can bet. I'm going to go once and see if we get a failure here. We put that there. We've had a break and 2 pushes to a new high. There is a failure there. There's going to be some stops there. Oh. I'm just not wrapped with this at the moment. That didn't actually trigger. I wouldn't have taken that one. It's falling at the same position as this, so you just don't know what's going to happen there. I want this to start clearing out some of these really before I go short. And there's always that possibility that there is something wider. Do I do it now? Maybe. Trouble is, we're still in a range as well, I think, so. Do you know if the market is closed tomorrow? It is, Budge, yeah. It closes at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, opens at 6 Eastern Time, trades throughout the night and closes at 8:30 Eastern Time tomorrow morning. In a lot of cases, usually they sort of shut at midday, 12:30 sort of time. But yeah, it's closed all day from 8:30 in the morning. So you get to have a lie-in tomorrow. Or a day off, whichever you want to look at it. I might go out and have some lunch tomorrow, actually. What day is it tomorrow? You're welcome, mate. What is it, Thursday tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. I might go into town. I may go and have a couple of whiskies in town. There's a bar I like where I live in town. And it's where royalty has frequented. Prince William used to drink in there when he did his pilot training at RAF Shawbury, which is about 8 miles from me. And he used to drink in there. And it's an absolutely stunning pub. It almost looks like a giant library, but their choice of whiskies in there is phenomenal. Expensive, don't get me wrong. I paid about £30, which is about $40 odd for just making sure my wife ain't listening for 2 doubles over Christmas. So it ain't cheap. Same again, we're still bouncing at that same spot. Trouble is, you've got to be so careful. So we're bouncing here multiple times. There, it did come back to the EMA and below. Is it going to do the same here? I mean, I'm on the fence here. We do seem to be working up. Having said that, I think the chance of us coming down from here is pretty good, but I'm just staying out of everything here. I thought once that got below the EMA and that triggered and that came down, it may come down, but it hasn't. It pushed up really strongly there. I mean, that was a fair old size of a buy, so there was a bar. So there's a lot of buying in there. I mean, that's what, 5.5 point bar straight up. So there was definitely buying there. So I think they're trying to push this thing higher. Will it go? Maybe. But it is quite choppy here. So is it going to break above this? It may do. Okay, we're above all this now. So how high is this going to go? Which is why I've stayed away from any shorts or longs, really. I don't want to get into anything here. There's no guarantee it's going to push up there. We've been up here multiple times. Yeah, it's not the easiest day to trade, is it, today? So where's this target? In this area? Possibly. Highs of the day. But at the moment, really, it's pretty much just ranging. It came down 2 legs, went up. Came down 2 legs, went up. So we're getting to the top of the channel. And there's a little bit of support up here, possibly. So where's this going to go? So that kind of would validate this, wouldn't it? Looks a little bit better now. That's just no way in here, even if you wanted to go long. That one you may have taken. Trouble is, when we've come off here 3 times, you don't know whether it's going to trigger you and come down either to here or lower. So that kept me out of anything like that. We're at the top of this channel now, what looks like a channel, and there's a bit of support here, so sometimes it makes no difference, it just rams through. But we've had a few bars here now, so well, look at that. Just as I mentioned that ramming through, look, straight up. Correct, yeah. Over 700 evals, yes. So that, no, yeah, I know it. See how it triggered it and straight up. See, you think at the top there. I know people who've done a lot more. I know a guy who's who blew over 1,200, and that was a year or so ago. Oh my! I was just throwing money at it and money at it and money at it. But you learn your lesson, Ray. Fortunately, most of them were when it was 90% off. Trouble is, if you trade in multiple ones at a time, it's amazing how bloody quick you can get through them. Break, push up. Yeah, I know people who trade a lot more. I know Nutty's done a lot more than me. Fortunately, my PAs are a lot more conservative. I've learned about 107 PAs. I've got 8 at the moment, so that's not terrible. So I'm a little more conservative with them. So, little channel there with a break and a new high. Where's this thing going? So that you would consider an overshoot, maybe just a fell break out of here. So that may come back in now. Okay, so little channel there with a break, new high, little overshoot of this. Break out of this. Straight away buyers in there. You're done for the day. Everyone has a good day. Talk. Yeah, you take it easy, buddy. You take it easy. I won't be far behind you. I might just do 2.5 hours today. It's not the easiest of days today. It is a lot of this chopping up and down. Let's see, there is a lower high there after this little break and an overshoot, but I'm just sitting tight here. Possible failure. There's going to be some bowls trapped there, I dare say. Is this going to come down? Who knows? We've got a channel break, new high. So try go once, try go twice. Let it come down below here. Okay, I think I'm going to knock it on the head for the day. We've done 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's just hard going today. So at least I'm up some on those trades I was down, those accounts I was down yesterday. So FOMC tonight in about 2.25 hours. So it's quite finicky today. So we'll see. So no trading tomorrow. If anybody doesn't know, Jimmy Carter's funeral. So they're honouring him with, you too, buddy. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. Failing that, I will see you Friday. So have a good day, have a great evening, have a nice day off tomorrow, and we'll catch up. You are welcome, mate. And we'll catch up on Friday. Bye for now.